Thank you for joining us this evening. Hope you had a wonderful day. We're going to have a great evening for about 45 minutes or so together. And before we get started, and I introduce our speaker, I'm going to give you just a little bit of a preview of what this presentation is all about. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and start that. I want to thank you, first of all, for joining us this evening. We're excited to have a special guest who is here to introduce a groundbreaking opportunity that has the potential to revolutionize how we approach health and wellness. In just a couple of months, BioLimitless will be launching an innovative new opportunity that combines the best of modern healthcare with cutting-edge products and services. This initiative is not just about improving people's health, but about creating a sustainable path to wellness for individuals and communities alike. At the heart of this opportunity is a chance to invest in centers of excellence. And those are facilities designed to deliver top-tier care and transformative health solutions. BioLimitless is bringing forward a unique approach that includes retailing high-quality supplements and peptide-based products, giving individuals the tools they need to take control of their health. But more than just products, this opportunity provides a chance to be a part of a larger vision. Today's speaker is here to share how you can be a part of this exciting journey, one that promises to redefine healthcare and open doors to new possibilities. Please join me in welcoming our presenter this evening, my lovely, wonderful husband, Kevin Edwards. He's going to guide us through this incredible opportunity with BioLimitless.
Well, good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good day. Today has been an extra busy day with it being, as Richard might say, a bank holiday. It's been a holiday for us, Martin Luther King Day. It's also been Inauguration Day. And even more important than all of that, it is a football night, college football night. So I don't know if you are interested in the championship, which is going on now, which I promise I will get through this presentation so you can get back to it a little bit before halftime. But it's something that my wife and I love to do on the weekends is watch a little football. But what I'm going to do right now is going to share my screen so I can jump into this presentation. What we're going to talk to you about tonight is a company by the name of BioLimitless. BioLimitless is the exciting new opportunity that you have undoubtedly taken time away from your day to come visit us and listen to the opportunity here. What I'd like to share with you before we go much further is a disclaimer. The statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. BioLimitless products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. If you are under the medical supervision of any allergy, disease, or taking any prescription medication, or if you're breastfeeding, contact your medical provider before adding any new supplements to your daily regimen. This product is not for use for sale to persons under the age of 18. With all of that out of the way, my question to you is, who would agree with this statement that your health is your greatest wealth? Well, the truth of the matter is, my wife and I, we agree wholeheartedly with that. We believe that exercise, good health, and all of that will lead to a longer, happier, healthier life. So what happened many years ago was my wife and I started on a little bit of a journey. And that journey was to better our health and our wellness and also our financial future as well. Because not only do we want to live as long as possible, but financially, we wanted to leave a little bit of a legacy for our kiddos and more importantly, our grandkiddos, of which between Deb and I, we have 12 grandkiddos. And what we really were doing when we started this journey was we were thinking about how important it would be for us to go through 12 high school graduations, a couple of college graduations, maybe 12 weddings, and maybe even a great-grandchild or two. And for all of that to happen, we knew that we would have to do some things in terms of our lifestyle to make some changes. Now, what we did was we started exercising. Exercising for us is something that we've always done, but we've never done it on a consistent basis. I mean, we would kind of float in and out of different situations. And, but we decided to make a commitment to be very intentional and exercise on a regular basis. And that's what we're doing right now is we exercise, we go to a gym several times a week, and we make it a point to exercise. We also make it a point to eat a little healthier, so much so that we have a service that provides us with vegetables and fruit that are totally organic, as well as a source of meat that we eat is also organic. And that's we don't go to the grocery store anymore. I can't remember the last time we shopped at the grocery store and picked up more than just milk and a little bit of bread here and there. But because my wife actually makes her own bread now. And we also decided, and on this journey, that we were going to probably start to investigate some supplements. Now, we did all of this back just before COVID hit. And then all of a sudden, COVID hit. So on our journey, we were trying to be very intentional about working out, so on and so forth. And what we did do was, well, I should say my wife did, was she investigated some doctors who were having success around the whole COVID issue. And they were reporting their success. And a lot of the success was due to some of the vitamins and supplements that they were recommending in their regimen. So when it came time for us to really get into this, we were following a couple of very good doctors and a couple of very good suggestions that they had about everything. And what we found was some of the supplements and some of the routines and regimens that were expected to take were not being allowed by our own government. So we came to a conclusion, and that conclusion is our healthcare system is broken. Now, when it comes to a broken healthcare system, it was kind of strange because despite the fact that we have such amazing technological advances and pharmaceutical advances, people are getting sicker in this country. People are getting very, very sick in this country. And there's just, in my opinion, way too many pharmaceuticals that people are taking, antidepressants, all kind of stuff that people are taking that I don't know if it really helps. I think it just kind of masks the symptoms and doesn't really do anything for a cure. As a matter of fact, that was the same philosophy that one of the doctors that we were following believed that all of this pharmaceuticals and things like that were never getting to the root cause. That's why people are not as healthy as their predecessors, their elders were. And so I'll just give you an example of what I'm talking about. Because we're not finding the root cause, a doctor by the name of Mark Hyman said, the way we practice medicine is like taking the battery out of a smoke detector when it goes off. We don't ask, why is there a fire? Instead, we just silence the alarm. And that's basically what our medical system does, I believe. It just silences the alarms. It doesn't figure out whether or not there's really a fire raging somewhere. And that to us was very, very important piece of why we felt the medical system was broken and why we wanted to try some new and different things. Now, one of the big problems currently, I believe, in our medical system is what we might call big pharma. Big pharma has transformed the healthcare system into a profit-driven paradigm where medications are often prescribed as quick fixes rather than addressing the underlying lifestyle or dietary factors. Now, I do have the Pfizer logo up there, but this is really what I believe is the problem with all of the pharmaceutical companies, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, so on and so forth. There is really not enough money in solving the problem, but there's plenty of money keeping the problem going by masking the symptoms. And I kind of believe that that's the direction that some of the big pharma companies are going in right now. Not to mention the fact, another big problem that when we were studying and going through our journey, my wife brought to my attention was the fact that big agriculture was also in the way. And big agriculture has done a lot to injure the food supply that we are dealing with pesticides and all other types of things that they spray on your food, the preservatives that they keep in your food to keep your food lasting longer. not to mention the dyes and the coloring that they use in your food to make it look better and make it look more appealing, which is really kind of strange. They poison your food, then they make it last as long as possible with chemicals, and then they make it look as nice and appealing as possible. And what do? We get sucked right in. And that was one of the things, again, that my wife and I just decided that we weren't going to get involved with. That's why we buy it. We do everything organically. And to be honest with you, I think a lot of people are moving in that direction. How bad is it? Well, I'll tell you how bad it is. It is so bad, the current medical system, that the Medicaid guideline says a treatment plan that seeks to prevent disease, promote health, and prolong, enhance the quality of life, or therapy that is performed to maintain or prevent deterioration of a chronic condition is deemed not medically necessary. That statement alone should scare you. It really should scare you, because what they're basically saying is if it's something good for you, it's not necessary. That's just tremendous statement. And that's why our system is broken and we need to really fix that. Let's take a look at someone who is in the process of possibly fixing that. That would be Robert Kennedy Jr. He was a former Democratic presidential candidate. He is now currently nominated as the Secretary of Health and Human Services. And if he is confirmed, he will have a lot to say about big pharma, big ag, some of those types of things. He is a lawyer who's been suing the pharmaceutical companies and trying to get them to act right, in my opinion, just act right and recognize that it's not just about the profit, it's also about getting to the root cause. Let's hear what he has to say.
In case some of you don't realize how dire the condition is of our children's health and chronic disease in general, I would urge you to view Dr. Carlson's recent interview with Callie Means and his sister, Dr. Casey Means, who is the top graduate of her class at Stanford Medical School. This is an issue that affects all of us far more directly and urgently than any culture war issue and all the other issues that we obsess on and that are tearing apart our country. This is the most important issue. So let me share a little bit about why I believe it's so urgent. Today, 2/3, we spend more on healthcare than any country on earth, twice what they pay in Europe. And yet we have the worst health outcomes of any nation in the world. We're about 79th in health outcomes behind Costa Rica and Nicaragua and Mongolia and other countries. Nobody has a chronic disease burden like we have. And during the COVID epidemic, we had the highest body count of any country in the world. We had 16% of the COVID deaths, and we only have 4.2% of the world's population. And CDC says that's because we are the sickest people on earth. We have the highest chronic disease rate on earth. And the average American who died from COVID had 3.8 chronic diseases. So these were people who had immune system collapse, who had mitochondrial dysfunction. And no other country has anything like this. 2/3 of American adults and children suffer from chronic health issues. 50 years ago, that number was less than 1%. So we've gone from 1% to 66%. In America, 74% of Americans are now overweight or obese, and 50% of our children. 120 years ago, obesity was almost unknown. In Japan, the childhood obesity rate is 3% compared to 50% here. Half of Americans have prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. When my uncle was president, I was a boy, juvenile diabetes was effectively non-existent. A typical pediatrician would see one case of diabetes during his entire career, a 40 or 50-year career. Today, 1 out of every 3 kids who walks through his office door is diabetic or pre-diabetic. And the mitochondrial disorder that caused diabetes also causing Alzheimer's, which is now classified as diabetes. And it's costing this country more than our military budget every year. There's been an explosion of neurological illnesses that I never saw as a kid: ADD, ADHD, speech delay, language delay, Tourette syndrome, narcolepsy, ASD, Asperger's, autism. In the year 2000, the autism rate was 1 in 1,500. Now, autism rates in kids are 1 in 36, according to CDC nationally. Nobody's talking about this. 1 in every 22 kids in California has autism. And this is a crisis that 77% of our kids are too disabled to serve in the United States military. What is happening to our country? And why isn't this in the headlines every single day?
Wow. I think that's staggering, the statistics that he brings to bear there, which again just shows how our medical current system is just not meeting the needs. As a matter of fact, people are getting worse, and we have better technology and what we might think is better pharmaceuticals. So as my wife and I were on our journey, we realized that what we really needed was a hero, someone who had a vision or envisioned a happier, wealthier, healthier life for all people. And wouldn't you know it, a hero appeared in the form of Dr. Eric Naputi. Now, Dr. Naputi says, if the system is too big to fail, we need to build a new one. And he recognizes that the medical system, the medical machine is huge. And instead of attacking the machine, why don't we build a parallel system that focuses more on the root causes of people's chronic conditions, as opposed to focusing on just meeting the symptoms where they lay and masking those symptoms and moving people further down the line and getting them almost dependent upon the pharmaceuticals, as opposed to getting them dependent upon healthier lifestyle, healthier foods, better nutraceuticals and things like that. Dr. Naputi does not come without any type of background. As a matter of fact, he's a private practice physician. He's a chiropractor. He's got a doctorate in natural medicine. He's been part owner of hospital system, and he's been involved in laboratory science, which is a tremendous background for the process and the direction that we want to go. What I will tell you about Dr. Naputi is he is already meeting. He is already talked to the hopefully future Secretary of Health and Human Services about this parallel system and about what he's doing and what he wants to try to accomplish. But more important to my wife and I is that we've actually sat with Dr. Eric Naputi and spoken with him about different things that are going on in the direction that he wants to take this country as far as a parallel health system goes. Now, the way Dr. Naputi structures things, he believes in innovative self-care. And that is that cutting edge technologies and precision solutions with a mission to unlock the limitless potential within the human body. That's one of the tenets that he believes, is that self-care is the new healthcare. Not only that, but he believes in enhanced wealth care. You see, his system is not going to be funded by the current setup that we have. BioLimitless is a decentralized financial platform promoting transparent, borderless transactions and empowering global participation through a disruptive peer-to-peer economy. And that, my friend, is exciting, because not only do you, if you decide to come with us, not only do you have the opportunity to join us in getting just healthier, you also have the opportunity to financially gain from being a part of BioLimitless. I'll let Dr. Naputi share with you his ideas on exactly what BioLimitless is.
So many of you know me. My name is Dr. Eric Naputi. I'm a physician by trade. You know, I always tell folks I'm the son of a pig farmer from Central Illinois, because I'm just a humble guy that just tries to help folks every day. Well, I'm a serial entrepreneur as well. You know, We have multiple biotech companies. I told you I've had over 30 of my own practices. I've owned and operated surgical centers. I've been in the laboratory and lab sciences space. I've been part owner of a hospital system. I've been in and around the healthcare system, not just from a physician, but also from an entrepreneur. So I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And folks, there's a lot more ugly than there is good. And that's not okay. And I know many of you have unfortunately succumbed, and family members have had problems with this system to this day. Lack of trust, lack of transparency, lack of truth. We're going to fix that. I'll tell you that many of you know that my story really got pretty crazy at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, when this crazy pandemic happened across the globe. I'll tell you that at the beginning of this pandemic, myself and literally hundreds of doctors were meeting virtually online from all over the globe, talking about what's happening in our countries. What are we seeing in our communities? How are we getting together globally and helping change the world? Like when the pandemic came, doctors who really wanted to help people got together and said, okay, it's our Super Bowl. How do we shine? Well, there was a really weird thing that happened. Whenever we presented solutions, doctors like myself, well, they didn't receive them very well. In fact, in my practices, we saw over 11,000 patients, and all of them combined that were positive for COVID. Nobody died. Nobody went to the hospital. And instead of the government saying, hey, what did you do? How did you do that? They attacked us. They actually sued me for $508 billion. Let me say that again, $508 billion. And after a long 3.5-year battle, and spent over $5 million fighting the government, we won that battle. But yeah, thank you. So let's talk a little bit about why are we here. You know, people ask me, Dr. Eric, why did you become a physician? Well, I fell in love with the human body when I was a little kid. I thought it was amazing. But the real reason why I became a doctor was because of my mother. My mom was sick all the time, all the time. And I vowed that I was going to learn and do as many things as I could to make sure that my mother lived as long as a happy, healthy life as she could, and so that other people's mothers could do the same. And I will tell you that's been a very interesting road because it got me in many, many conversations that you folks might consider troublesome. Whenever you ask one question, in my profession, in the health and wellness space and in the medical space, if you start asking the question, why, you are now a problem. If you start asking, why does somebody have that problem? Why do we do this? Folks, our system is broken. I mean, I don't think anybody in here would disagree with me at all. And by the way, when I had this conversation in Japan, when we had it in Europe, when we had it in the Middle East, everybody agrees the problem is true across the globe. It's time for a solution and a shift, but nobody stepped up to do it yet. And again, the reason why, the biggest reason why, when people ask me, Doc, why are you bringing part of your ecosystem to a peer-to-peer, direct-to-consumer network marketing component? It's real simple, folks. Because if you're going to have a system that's by the people, for the people, and of the people, it has to be driven by the people, and the people have to be able not just to participate, but to monetize from that system. It's the only way that it can happen. And when I tell people that, they say that's the most common sense thing you could possibly think of because our systems are broken. And so our system is all about institutionalized dividing and conquer us as people. And I will tell you, you're going to hear a lot about how healthcare and wealthcare goes together today. You're going to hear a lot about that because the fractured healthcare system is really all about symptoms and not solutions. You folks have heard me say this before from the stage that just in the United States alone, we spend $5 trillion a year on the healthcare system in America by itself. $5 trillion a year. Half of that money, 2.5 trillion of that money, literally goes to bureaucratic waste and spend and administrative fees. 2.5 trillion of those dollars goes towards paperwork instead of improving the quality of your health. But I want you to understand as well that we're not here to challenge the status quo. We're not here to go after the established system that's here. We're not here saying that system's bad, we need a new one. We're pointing a finger saying it's not very good, it doesn't work. We're saying here's a parallel system. Here's a parallel system that you can participate in. The system that you can participate in is vast. But I want you to understand The system that is created today, just in the United States of America, that one that is a $5 trillion a year business, $250 billion of that goes back into the hands of your insurance companies, into HMOs, PPOs, into other healthcare organizations. That is an absolute waste. And let me just tell you, folks, I don't want to fight against those folks. We don't need to fight against those folks. We have a system that allows people to participate because they have something called free will and freedom. And if you have freedom and free will to choose, people are going to choose our system over the others.
Wow, I tell you, I was in the audience when I first heard Dr. Naputi talk about BioLimitless to the crowd. There was we were in Vegas, and there were some 5,000-6,000 people there at that time, and that really fired me up. And what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to break BioLimitless down into three different, I'm going to call them phases, but they're definitely three different components that I think that you will really appreciate and maybe even see yourself being involved in. When it comes to BioLimitless, there's a phase one, or the first component. And that was actually launched at that presentation that Dr. Naputi did, and that was Vegas of last year in August. My wife and I were there. And this first launch was just to get people a little bit familiar with the concepts and a little bit familiar with what some of the products are. And the three products that are listed here, the precision DNA testing is important because, as Dr. Naputi likes to say, we test, we don't guess. And so once you get your precision DNA testing done, you know exactly what is lacking in your body, what your body needs. We can attack those, and we'll see those. We'll see what we can attack those with in the second phase. But the first phase has the microbiotics, master microbiotics, and the cell signaling peptides. And if you're interested in being healthy, this is a good place to start. And that would be just going ahead, using the products, and getting an understanding of your testing and getting an understanding of what your body needs to get and stay healthy. When it comes to phase two is more about a greater range of products. And those products range anywhere from, they're all peptide driven. They're specific solutions to specific issues. They're all peptide driven. And the detox formula, anti-aging formula, stress relief. There's a hormone reset, muscle growth, weight loss, all kinds of energy, focus, mood, memory formulas that are available. And those will be available in the next probably 2 months or so, as it launches at the end of February of this year. The phase two launch will be the end of February of this year, and you'll have the opportunity to purchase and use all of these solutions that are going to be available. Not to mention the fact that if you want to make a little money, you can certainly retail these formulas to people you know who might have the same interest in you in getting healthy and being healthy. Again, I would probably start with the DNA testing, but once that's done, then you can use a whole host of peptide-driven solutions, and you can even retail it to, or should I say wholesale it, to vendors who might want to retail the product themselves. So that's an area where you can make some money with BioLimitless. But the real money is going to be made, I believe, in phase three of BioLimitless. And that is investing in the BioLimitless Centers of Excellence. That's where physiology doesn't lie. We test, we don't guess. It brings together advanced diagnostics, precision therapeutics, AI technology, and world-class physicians to support you in your health goals. Now, these are cutting edge, very, very cutting edge therapies and therapeutics that you'll be able to get your hands on and have those available to you, so that we can test first and then get to what the solutions could be, and getting to the root cause of your problem, not just masking that problem. And with the BioLimitless centers are offering the testing that we just talked about. They're going to be brick and mortar locations. Patients can also benefit from additional services through that brick and mortar location. And some of those additional services look like this: chiropractic care, laser therapies, whole body scans, functional MRI scans, hyperbaric chamber, all kinds of things are going to be available through these centers. And now these centers are going to be available, like I said, all over the world, not just in the US. But what I'd like to do is introduce you to Dr. C.J. Mertz. He is going to be the CEO of the BioLimitless Centers of Excellence. And as you can see, the goal is to open 2,000 BioLimitless centers. I want you to hear what Dr. Mertz has to say about the project and exactly the money possibilities, again, that the BioLimitless, by investing in the BioLimitless Centers of Excellence, could provide and bring forth to you.
So BioLimitless Centers of Excellence. Hey, we're going to open up 2,000 of them, okay? I got that. I got that. I got that. But what we probably didn't hear, and that's what I want to just take a few minutes, you're going to be able to figure out and connect the dots here pretty quickly. I want you to see what the revenues could and should look like. One of the things I really want you to get, and Eric says this all the time, is that BioLimitless Centers of Excellence are designed to serve the classes and the masses. So what that means is there'll be people that will come into our centers that may only invest a few $100s, and that's all they can do right now. But I need you to also know we're going to have a Mayo Clinic-like care plan with the top services that are available on planet Earth right now that will be close to a $50,000 care plan that people are going to line up to get. For those that don't, money is not their issue. The kind of impact that we're going to make is not just in people's health, but you've been hearing about wealth this afternoon. Understand that these centers are designed in a way to create $9 million of gross revenue annually. I just want you to kind of breathe these numbers in for a moment, so when you start to hear us putting 20 centers and 100 centers and 200 centers, and then it will go from there. I want you to remember that number. Another number I think that's important is that it's going to cost about $1.5 million annually to run them, right? So if you do some just quick numbers, what you're realizing is there's about $7.5 million of gross margin. Say yes if you get what I'm saying here so far. So do you remember what Jeremy was saying about 50% of that is going back to the crowd fund, to the equity partners, to you? Just get a feel for that, right? And so then what happens from there is we're going to continue to grow that until we have done enough to pay back not only the $5 million that was invested, but to open up that second practice. Some of these numbers may actually help you. Did you hear that you get discounts on coming into these centers? Like, who's excited about coming into one of these centers? I know I am. Yeah. The therapies, the modalities, the treatments, the doctors, the team, the healing products and services, I want you to get this. It's as if we are the Mayo Clinic of natural health and healing. Who's up for that? Yeah. And I want you to really feel me on that. My standard and anyone else that's going to be on our teams, that's our standard. That is, we will not do anything less than that, right? And that's why so many people will benefit from it, and while so many people will want to be part of it. So again, I just love and appreciate you. I'm really excited and honored to be part of this group. Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Now that is very exciting. And just to kind of recap again, let me go through those phases one more time so that you can really get a sense of what we're talking about here. Phase one is improving your own health, using the products, getting used to getting better in your situations, understanding what the test talks about, and understanding the basic products, the foundational products, which would be the gut health product and microbiotic product and the cell functioning product. Now, again, section 2 is a place where you might be able to make a little bit of money and continue on the journey of getting well, but you get to use the products to improve your health. You can use advanced peptide-driven solutions And you can retail the product to friends and family, people that you know that might want to start a health journey themselves. You can introduce them to the testing and then give them the opportunity to use some of the basic foundational products. And when they get their test back, you can get a little bit more specific with the solution-driven peptides. Not to mention the fact you can wholesale the product out to health and wellness centers, to chiropractor offices, to natural medicine facilities, places where they sell medicine, places where they sell supplements, excuse me, not medicine, supplements, and other things that are natural. Some holistic healing places could benefit from that. And you can actually have a business of just wholesaling and retailing your product out. And the place where I think the most money will be made is actually in phase 3, when you take advantage of the opportunity of investing in the BioLimitless Centers for Excellence. There will be 5 in the US. The first 5 will be in the US. 3 of the 5 will be right here in the great country of Texas. One will be in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, one will be in the Austin area, and one will be in the Houston area. There'll also will be one in St. Louis because that's where Dr. Naputi is. And I think they were talking about putting one out in Phoenix, Scottsdale area. I think those would be the first 5 that we're talking about that you can invest in. Now, my wife and I, we have invested, or we plan to invest in the Centers of Excellence when that opportunity actually arises for us in the next 2 months or so. But let me just tell you, the only way that you can get in to the investment piece of this is through a company called Limitless. Limitless is a crowdfunding community, okay? And my wife and I, we have been involved in Limitless now for about 4 years, and we've invested in several of their opportunities, well, actually all of their opportunities, and we've been very excited and happy about the returns that it looks like that we are getting. The goal of Limitless is to seek and identify and fund businesses and products that are designed to disrupt an industry in a positive way. And by disrupting that industry, provide the community passive income. Now, Limitless has been around for about 4 years now. And we started out with them in the very beginning with their first disruptive project. And that project was a company called Endotech. Endotech was in the financial technology industry. And what they did that was disruptive, they were one of the first to bring AI technology to the trading of Forex, the trading of money. And they were the first to have one of the first to have an AI platform that did that successfully. My wife and I invested in the company, and the returns that we have gotten have been just astronomical. And so it wasn't difficult for us when the second project came down line, blockchain sports. It wasn't difficult for my wife and I to jump into blockchain sports. Now, blockchain sports is certainly not in the financial technology industry, but it is in the sports and entertainment industry. And the disruption there has to do with all types of new technology and new items that I don't have the list is so long, I don't have time to run down the list of how it is being disruptive. But trust me, it is blowing up the sports and entertainment industry, not only in soccer, but in motor car racing and drift racing. And that has also been successful. And that payoff is about to come again, probably in the next 30 to 60 days as well. But this project, the one that we're talking about, BioLimitless, is in the health and wellness industry, and it is disrupting the health and wellness industry in a positive way. And when I say a positive way, I think you can see what that means. We're looking for root causes. We're looking for solutions to people's chronic problems. We do that through testing and matching their results to a peptide-driven solution that can help them along this journey that they're on. So it's got a little bit of a history. It's got a great track record as far as I'm concerned. I'm talking about Limitless here. It was such a good partnership that Dr. Naputi actually stole part of our name to add to his to make it such an amazing, amazing product and prove that to the community that this is going to be something that when you invest or wholesale or retail a product is going to be huge for your pocketbook as well as huge for your health. Before I say goodbye, I'd like to give Dr. Naputi the opportunity to say goodbye to you. So He's got a very quick note message for you, and I think it's really important. So here we go.
It's time for us to stop saying something, and it's time for us to start doing something. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what BioLimitless is all about.
And I agree with him 100%. It is time to start doing something. And if you have the urge to start doing something with BioLimitless, please get back to the person that invited you to this call this evening. And as I say goodbye to you and wish you luck, either Ohio State or Notre Dame, whichever you're pulling for, I'll let you get back to your game. But I want to say thank you for the opportunity to come into your computer screen today and chat with you about BioLimitless. I'm excited about it. I think the opportunity has tremendous potential. And with the backing of Dr. Naputi and the backing of the future Health and Human Service Director, I can't see this thing going anything but blown up. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the evening. I'm going to turn it back over to you, Deb.
Thank you, Kevin. That was, again, amazing. And I don't know about you guys, and every time you hear this, you learn something new, but I'm telling you, since January 2025 has rolled over, I can just almost taste this new health and wellness parallel system coming into our lives and have an opportunity for a whole new way of keeping ourselves healthy. And we have Richard Laidler is with us, like always, our wonderful, one of our wonderful leaders here in the DFW area. Richard, I wanted to ask you, do you have a few words you'd like to say this evening?
Yeah, I always just like to really just add to the wonderful job that Kev always does. For all of the things that Kev talked about, I think the one thing that always rings true to me, and I talk about this most times we have this call, is, you know, for the longest time, you know, I've had this feeling that something's not right. You know, something's not right with healthcare. You know, my mum, you know, lives, you know, she basically is kept alive on medications. She lives for the vaccine. You know, she gets a booster every 3 months. My dad, his Sunday routine, and if some people of my age, your dads would, his Sunday routine was to get out his pill box, and he'd have all his bottles, and it was his thing. He got a cup of coffee, the newspaper, and his pills, and he would organize his pills. And they're not supplements. We're talking about, you know, statins and then medications for the side effects that the statins were going to cause and this type of thing. But there was nothing I could say to either of them, because they would say, Richard, you're not wearing a white coat. What do you know? And that was always a little bit heartbreaking. My mum still does, you know. She looks forward to the time when the nurse comes around to give her a booster for her COVID injection. She never leaves the house, never sees anyone, but there's this thing that's been indoctrinated, and I don't blame either of them. It's been indoctrinated into us for way too long. And, you know, I think, you know, our generation that maybe look at some more independent media or look at some different points of view, like, you know, Dr. Eric, you know, realize that there is, you know, for you know, hundreds of thousands of years, we relied on nature to cure us from our problems. And then all of a sudden, 100 years ago, someone came up with this idea, well, we won't get, you know, into that, but, you know, someone came up with this idea that pills that were made from petroleum products were going to do a better job than the things that were put here on the good earth for us, you know, that we'd grown up through over the, you know, hundreds of thousands of years, millions of years. And it's just not felt right. And I think the thing is, Kev, you know, as you do these presentations, is that at last I feel like there's somewhere I can go where I'm not on my own, where I can be a part of a movement, a part of an army, a part of, you know, something that can make a difference. Because I feel no matter how much I go outside and scream and yell and go, you know, Dad, stop taking so many pills. Mum, stop taking so many pills. You know, there's nothing I can do on my own. But when there's thousands of us, hundreds of thousands of us, and you know, as you talked about, Kev, you know, with RFK, you know, with his Maha movement, I really feel that I'm in the right place, and I'm very, very excited for everything you talked about. That's it for me. I've found somewhere where I can now have a voice, because there's 100,000 of people saying the same thing. And so what I like is for the opportunity for, for self-care and for, for health products and all of this type of thing, awesome. Love that. For the opportunity for, for being able to make money from this. How great would it be to take the money from the big food and the big pharma who are incentivized to keep us sick, right? Otherwise they go out of business. Take that money and give it to people who, like us, who are incentivized to encourage prevention and self-care and keeping our immunity up. The money's there, right? Where do you want it to go? Do you want it to go into, into the big pharma and big food? Sure, there's a time when a pill is the right thing. If I'm on a gurney and there's a pill that big pharma do that's going to keep me alive, I'm in. I'm not knocking that at all. All I'm saying that I'm sick and tired of it being the go-to for everything. Oh, you've got a little this, then here's a bunch of pills, right? And so, I love the fact that there's self-care. I love the opportunity that there's wealth care, that we can be incentivized to keep people better rather than incentivized to keep people sick. And then those centers of excellence, Kev, I cannot wait to be a part of that. We can be a part of it for, I think the minimum contribution is $100 to be an owner, in one of these centers. And, how great will it be to be able to, to go for dinner and say, oh, well, maybe you would like to try one of, I'm a shareholder in a centers of excellence, Mayo Clinic quality deal. And so what a fantastic opportunity for little old me, little old you, little old everybody else, all together as 100,000, 200,000, a million, millions of people who can actually have a voice and make a difference. So Kev, you do such a great job in breaking everything down, but personally, it's the feeling of empowerment. And, I just want to build my own little army, because I know there's a bunch of my friends who are into healthcare. Anything healthcare, they're interested. I can just say, come along and listen to my friend Kev talk about it, and then, can be part of it. And I think, for those who are listening, I think that's the most important thing. You can feel empowered, you can bring along your friends, and you can help build this army. And so that's what I get from this. Sure, there's a business to be had there. Sure, there's products to be had there. Sure, there's participation in the centers, but it's this rallying of the troops that I love. And with the fact that we're launching on March 2nd, then let's build our army ready for that, for the front lines. Okay, let's go, and I love that. That's all I had to say. Sorry, I get on my high horse a little bit, but I get excited about that. Kev, thank you very much for the presentation. And Deb, thanks for the opportunity, just for getting on my high horse.
Oh gosh, I get so excited when you get on your high horse, because this is an army. And when you can get with the group of people that have the same mindset, there's nothing that can stop us. And it does make you feel empowered.
Yeah, maybe my mum will listen if she hears 100,000 voices just than one son.
Well, if we were all on horses coming down the hill to fight battle, they'd hear those horse hooves, wouldn't they? We are an army. And
everybody has that story, Deb. Everybody has a mum, a brother, an uncle, a sister, themselves.
Yeah. When you were thinking about or talking about your mom, I was thinking about sitting with Kevin's parents, and they were both on all kinds of different medication. And this one, it helped counteract that one. And when a doctor tells you can't eat grapefruit because you've taken a medication that it's going to have a side effect on, or you can't eat greens, because I swear to goodness that happened. And what in the world, how does that seem right? It just doesn't seem right. So super excited about this new parallel system. I wanted to see if anyone else on the call has any questions. We maybe can take a couple of moments. I see Miss B is being sweet and offering her thank you for Kevin's awesome presentation. So I don't see anything in there. Do you, Richard?
No, Kev always does such a good job. I don't know how many questions there are left. It's now just like, okay, let's get on with it. Let's go, right?
I agree. I totally agree. Well, I just want to thank everyone again for coming in and sitting through the presentation, and I hope you can take something away that you can share with someone. And like always, we are going to be here next week, the same time, same place, So invite your friends, your family, your coworkers to go on this journey with you. And just to jump on and listen and learn, see what we're all about. So if we don't have any questions or any comments, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up this evening. And we will see you next week. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.